So come on up, stand up front. And while they're coming up, first I'm going to introduce Trista Webb. She's been married for 23 years to Ed. Ed is a Stockton K-9 officer. I met Trista, and we had conversations, and she told me I miss Galt because she used to be a dispatcher for Galt and then left for a brief time and then came back. So we're really, really pleased to have you back. Trista has 4 kids, 22 to 28 years old. That's the age range. She has 2 grandkids, and since all the kids are gone, she decided they're going to have 4 dogs now. Probably to replace the kids, but one of them being that they're a police canine. She loves to travel. In her spare time, she likes to scrapbook. So the one thing that she told me that she missed about Galt was the family atmosphere, and that's why she decided that she wanted to come back. So we're happy that she's back working for us. And that's Trista. And then our newest dispatcher is Shannon McLean. She entered in training about 3 weeks ago. Was it been 3? Yeah. And she comes from a small, tight-knit family. Her parents and one older sister. She was raised in Lodi, and you reside in Lodi for the last 15 years. Raised in Stockton, born in Stockton, right. Raised in Lodi. Yes. I wanted to make sure I got that right. So, I'm trying to read a couple of things because there's some things that I didn't even know. Let me see. Her husband, Denny, and her 2 daughters, Grace and Veronica, and her stepson, Andrew. I knew you had 3 kids. I just didn't know their names. And she enjoys going to baseball games, and she's been in the medical field for the last few years, and so we're really, really happy. She wanted a new career, a new level of excitement, and so when she interviewed for us, she just did amazing, and we couldn't wait to bring her on board. So we're really, really happy, and we're also pleased to announce that once Shannon started for the first time in the history of Galt, we've been fully staffed in dispatch.
Yay. Gosh, I'm surprised we got you to take a picture, Chief.
Me? Take a picture? It's not a selfie this time, so.
In rare form. Okay. Oh, fabulous. Now we have, who's going to do, Mark or Steve? You're going to do Taylor, okay?
Thank you we had a little bobble on the agenda, but we're thrilled to introduce who you'll quickly see as the brightest one of the bunch. Taylor, if you'd stand up, bright new coverall. Hey, come on down, you can stand here. I've been given some cheat notes as well. Taylor comes to us from the Antioch area where she still lives, and she went to school at Los Medanos College. And actually, we got her with some actual wastewater experience. She worked as an intern at the Oro Loma Sanitary District, is that correct? That's over in San Leandro. And her brother is a wastewater operator, so it's genetic. So that's a good thing. She comes to us with, in hand, a grade wastewater treatment operator 1 certificate. And she also has passed her grade 3 exam and is only lacking hours of experience, which we'll be happy to give her to have that formal certification. And she has her water distribution grade 1. So we're thrilled to bring that kind of experience on board, and she'll be pursuing, she has interest in water quality lab chemistry and is planning some more college work toward that end. So welcome, Taylor. Would you like to say anything?
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right.
Picture. Great.
Make me look right. You.
Okay, and on to Armando, the Parks and Recreation Department overview.
Good afternoon, City Council. I'll be here talking about Parks and Recreation. Not that Parks and Recreation. We'll be talking about our Galt Parks and recreation. The fun and only is which I'd like to describe it. So what you see here is the Parks and Rec, the CPRS logo, Parks Make Life Better. This official tagline of the CPRS unites 525 California Parks and Rec agencies. With our Parks and Rec department, we have 4 divisions, and the first we'll be talking about is parks. Our parks, we have 21 parks that equal 60 acres, 6.5 acres of open space and trails, 23 acres of streetscapes, and 5 acres of facility landscaping. So when I talk about facility landscaping, we're talking City Hall, Public Works, PD. Then the 21 parks, I've handed out a map of all of our park locations and what is included in each one of the parks. It was too hard to read on the slideshow, so it's there in the handout. So does anybody know what our city tree is? Yeah.
Oh, he raised his hand.
Yeah.
Good job, Chief.
So it's a tulip tree. This is what our tulip tree looks like. You can see them out front of by the library. And then I recently found that out when I took over parks maintenance. So our next department is our recreation department. So recreation has 4 divisions within it. Our sports, aquatics, special interests, and school programs. I'll be going over each one of those. So, oh, wow, that doesn't come out clearly. So sports, we have adult softball, men's and co-ed softball, girls softball ages 7 to 14, and instructional and t-ball ages 4 to 6. We recently had given over our 6 to 8-year-old boys instructional league. GYB, our local organization that has our baseball, is now offering that. So we were splitting the kids and didn't have enough for each one of us. So we've decided not to offer it this year. This will be the first time. Our next program that we have is our basketball league. We have adult basketball, youth basketball, 5th through 8th grade, and this is full-blown keeping score, referees, timeouts, those type of things. We have an instructional basketball program where we have our coaches, and at the 4th grade level, we'll have one referee to kind of go through, hey, this is a foul, this is what you did wrong, but we're not keeping score or keeping fouls in the books. And then we have our instructional 1st grade program where our employees, we actually teach the kids how to play basketball. The first 4 weeks are divvied up into skills, passing the ball, shooting, and then we divide them up into teams, and then they play games for the last 4 weeks of the season. So our next division is our aquatic center. The aquatic center holds various programs that include our Galt Gators, swim lessons for all ages, public swim, pool party rentals, and Title 22 first aid for lifeguards, our training. So here you'll see our pool that was built in 1998. We have a, let's see if I have a pointer here. Okay. Our comp pool, our recreation pool, we have a large slide here, and a fun fact about this slide, it is inspected yearly by the same people that inspect the rides at Disneyland. It's a $550 cost for them to come out and inspect it, but it is inspected annually by the same people that go down to Disneyland. And then we have a new area here, which is a party area that we can rent out along with our party cove here. So we have our Galt Gators, swim lessons, our rec area, pool party, and lifeguarding. So I'll be covering our special interest classes now. Our special interest class is when you have a contract with an instructor to perform specific classes like our wine and paint nights. We have a contract in place with that instructor. We have one for our hip-hop class, those type of classes. And typically, they range from a 40-60 to 10-90 split with the instructor. So the 10% is for the processing fee that we collect. We collect all the money, the rosters, and we typically save the 10-90 for our senior programs. because they are very low cost, and we want to make sure we have those for that. The 40-60 are typically for the more individual-based programs. So for programs for all ages, we have our hunter safety course, very, very popular course that we continue to sell out. Our STAR program, a lot of people don't realize that we have this program. It's for our special teen and adult recreation. It's held once a month on Friday nights at the Littleton Center. Tanny Watts, who handles this program, does a great job with it. Our Tang Soo Do, long-running martial arts program. For our seniors, we have our senior club, Meals on Wheels program, Fitness is Forever, Tai Chi, line dancing, and fitness in a chair. And I'm just naming some of the programs. I'm not naming all of them. So for our adults, our wine and paint night has become very popular. Egg art, line dancing, and we provide CPR and first aid classes for a lot of the people in the community that request it. For our youth, we have our art classes, paint days, ballet, cheer, CMT, gymnastics, National Academy of Athletics. I was hoping I'd remember that one. And then our horsemanship classes. So now we're going to move into our before and after school programs. When we talk about before programs, we really mean before. Our City Tots preschool program is a pre-K type program. It's for ages 3 to 5. It's held at Marengo Ranch School, and as you can see, is open to ages 3 to 5. But the most important part is that all students must be potty trained before they can come into this class. Our teachers appreciate that. So now we have our after-school program, our SOAR program. SOAR was created at the request of the school district. They stopped providing buses, transportation for the kids after school a couple of years ago, and they asked us to bridge that time between where the kids are out of school and the parents can pick them up. So we provided that at our Lake Canyon location, Marengo Ranch, and River Oaks. It was built to kind of match their ACES programs at their other schools. So now we're going to talk about the Galt Market. So the Galt Market, it's open on Tuesdays and Wednesdays year-round. It's approximately 10 acres with about 300 vendors each day. And for fiscal year 15-16, revenue was $2.7 million that goes into our 06 fund. This was originally Sacramento County Fairgrounds between 1937 and 1954. Property was declared surplus and was deeded to the city in 69. In 1982, we went back and asked the Assembly for to amend a bill that would amend the deed and allowed the city to conduct a city-operated flea market on the property. We are the only city-owned and operated market in the state of California. And then all the rents would solely go into the Parks and Recreation for purposes in the city. This is a copy of the deed. I've highlighted the area where it specifically says that language. And now we're going to talk about special events. I'm sure you guys are tired of talking about special events, but I'm not going to get into specific ones. So the Parks and Rec Department not only puts on events, but we also process them for the community. Some of those larger ones are the Strawberry Festival, Extravaganza, homecoming parades, and 5K runs throughout the community. The ones we put on are the Winter Bird Festival, typically held at the end of January. Our Independence Day celebration, we try and get it as close to the 4th of July as we can. This year it will be on July 1st, Saturday. We have our Lighting of the Night event, which is the first Saturday in December. And then I consider sports tournaments a special event. You can consider tournaments a special event if you look at it in the way of you're bringing hundreds of people into your town for a specific event in which they may have never come into our town. And while they're here, they're eating in our restaurants, staying in our hotels, and pumping our gas. And we actually benefit from that. In 2016, we scheduled 36 tournaments. And there were some rainouts, not as bad as this year. But we had about 20 to 25 after everything was said and done. So we were able to schedule those tournaments there. So, as you see our logo there through CPRS, I would just have made one change to that. I would have said Parks and Recreation make life better, and I truly believe that. And I'd be glad to answer any questions that you may have now.
Council?
How much since I don't know, how much does it cost someone for their child to participate in sports, just on average, like if they're going to do Little League?
It depends. We go as low as $20 up to, I believe, basketball is $85, depending on what level you're at, because you know, when you're paying for referees and scorekeepers, that adds to the cost.
And we do have scholarships too, correct?
We do have scholarships as long as you meet the free lunch program levels. We update those on an annual basis.
And then, did you guys break even on the sports tournaments? Are those money makers, or just break
We
even?
break even for our hard costs, for the employees to prep the fields, clean up afterwards, have a site supervisor, have the concessions open, and then what we did is we break even on that, but we brought all those people to town. So it was a decision made to stimulate the economy here in town, and it's worked.
Yeah, good job. Thank you.
So,
Anyone else? Okay, thank you very much, Armando.
thank you. I appreciate the time.
Okay, Donna, do you mind reading public comment, please?
Under Government Code Section 54954.3, members of the public may address the council on non-agenda items. Speakers may address council on any agenda items during consideration of the item. Speakers should restrict their comments to issues that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council and limit comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. Please fill out a speaker sheet located on the table inside the entrances to the council chambers and forward the completed speaker sheet to the clerk. And I have 2.
Okay, the first one is Chris Dizelle.
Mark, would you please hand her the microphone?
And it's nice to see you up and about, Chris.
I just wanted to comment on Armando's overview of Park and Recs Department. I'm the president of the Senior Club, and we work with them on a regular basis, constantly. They're always very good at providing what we need, being right there if the heater goes haywire. They're always willing to come and help us out. They keep the building pretty clean, and they're just really wonderful people to work with. Everybody on his staff does a really good job at meeting our needs. If we have an emergency, we go to Plan B or Plan C, and we manage to get things done. And it's really nice to be able to work with somebody that has that attitude of helping the seniors and helping any kind of recreation programs to go along. In addition to that, I want to thank you guys for having a city council meeting in the daytime. I have a permanent commitment on Tuesday nights that I can't break. So the ability to come here during the day or an afternoon meeting is just wonderful to me. I don't know how other people in the city feel, but it really helps me out because I like to come and get involved in this once in a while. And the other thing that I had a really good experience today, and I'm just kind of on a high from it, I rode the Trax bus to get here. And if you guys have never ridden the Trax bus and you represent our city, you're city council people, right? You represent the city, you should be good supporters of everything in our city. That Trax bus was awesome. And do it one time and just see what the feeling is. They were very professional, clean, on time. They did everything perfectly, and it was just a really good experience, and it's part of why so many people love living in this town, is because we all work together to do all this stuff together. Armando is a big part of that, and I want to give him a big applause for doing what he does. So thank you very much.
Chris, let me put you on the spot for just a minute, and why don't you tell us a little bit about the Senior Club and when you meet, and
Okay.
it's a
The
good
Senior Club meets Mondays and Thursdays. We on Mondays we have a business meeting one day a month. We have a fun day where we might do crafts or have entertainment or something on the second day. On the third Monday, we have a big potluck, which is probably one of the reasons why I joined the senior club. I love potluck. And then the fourth day, we celebrate everybody's birthdays that's in the senior club. Many times seniors are living alone and they don't have family to come and help them even feel important on their birthday.
Right.
And who doesn't like that? You know, and it's just, we have donuts or birthday cake and everybody just has a good time and kind of get that little bit of special feeling. And then a lot of camaraderie and social interaction helps keep our seniors a little bit healthier. Thursdays we play bingo, and sometimes we'll have special events on Thursdays. We do fundraisers throughout the year. We had an awesome spaghetti feed this last fall. That money that we use on fundraisers goes to support a scholarship program for Galt High and Liberty Ranch. And other things, we're looking at making a donation to Meals on Wheels, and we donate to different community events. We're going to be participating in the extravaganza, and we try to keep seniors engaged in life, and it makes their life a little bit better and makes them kind of feel like somebody out there is caring about them. If you don't show up at a meeting for 2 or 3 weeks, somebody's going to call because we missed you, you know, and kind of check up on people. And that gives the seniors quite a boost to their ego. I'm also pretty active in the Agency on Aging. I've been very sick the last 3 months, so I haven't participated in much of anything but trying to stay alive. But, you know, we're looking at those issues that directly relate to seniors to make our life a little better. Mm-hmm. And I think it helps in this town that we are aware of issues that relate to seniors. And that makes it just better for all of us. So that's kind of what we do. Are there any questions?
No, but I think that you're a great asset to the community, and we do have a lot of seniors in this community, so thank you for all you do.
Okay, thank you.
And Chris, isn't the, and I don't know if Parks and Rec does, but isn't there a monthly calendar
Yes.
on the city's website to show all the activities?
I don't know if it's on the city's website. It's at the Cibola Hall.
I think it is on the website under Parks and Rec under activities.
I believe it is. I'd have to, it's been a while since I've gone on there to verify that it's.
Yeah, I looked, I just happened to be looking at it over the weekend, and they have, I think, January, February. They don't have March up yet, but
Yeah.
it looked like a pretty extensive list of activities for the entire month. So.
It certainly can be,
Yeah.
but it's not there right now. That's a good idea. Thank you, Kurt.
Sure.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you, Armando, again.
And we're glad to see you're up and running. Okay, now we have Sherry Daly, Immigration Policy.
Mayor, council members, good afternoon. I am coming before you today to talk about an issue that stems from changes in federal policy. Probably the most significant piece of federal change that has ever impacted our local community. And I would just like to talk a little bit about what's happening and then ask a few questions. The Department of Homeland Security Secretary Mike Kelly released a memorandum today which changes the policy and focus of how immigration law is implemented throughout the country. Particularly, the basis for deportation has changed. I know the law hasn't changed, but the way that it was, the implementation of it was handled differently with the previous administration. Today's administration will include deportation for conviction of any criminal offense. It's not just violent or felony, but any criminal offense. Having been charged with a criminal offense that is not adjudicated, so you're not even guilty. Having committed acts which constitute a chargeable criminal activity, that means you haven't even been charged. You just might have done a crime. engaging in any willful misrepresentation in connection with an official matter with government. And as we all know, if you're an undocumented, misrepresenting yourself is something that happens quite commonly. So those are the new rules, something that localities may in the past have chosen to ignore or not to ignore. The other interesting thing that has happened is the Immigration and Naturalization Act 287G, which is kind of an obscure part of the act, but has now been pulled forward to allow localities to basically deputize local law enforcement to enforce immigration policy. Not many have been doing this in the past, or maybe 19 throughout the country, but they are asking to use this multiplier effect to try and swiftly increase the amount of deportations that happen throughout the country. Finally, changing policy doesn't mean anything unless you have the staff to back it up with, and it was announced today that there will be 10,000 new agents and officers added to ICE payroll as soon as they can get them hired. So the federal government means business. We're a border state. We're a community that has a large immigrant community who is frankly frightened of what's happening out there. So social media, there was a lot of conversation about this topic this weekend, and a lot of questions bubbled up. So I'm just bringing them forward to you to tell you what people are thinking in case you're not tuned into social media. People want to know if our local law enforcement is able to ask about people's immigration status during the regular course of business. They want to know if local law enforcement currently or will be arresting people on suspicion of violating immigration law. They want to know, does local law enforcement notify ICE when an undocumented person has been arrested in Galt? If so, under what circumstances is ICE notified? There were questions about custody. What crimes are people held in custody for, and which crimes do people get sent to Sacramento County Jail, where ICE officials are present and do conduct research and deportation of people who are in custody in Sacramento County Jail? And does the city have the ability to change or dictate policy on which persons, for what crimes, remain in Galt and which are sent to Sacramento County? Finally, the ability for local governments to act as ICE enforcement officials and to participate in ICE activities in our city was questioned. Does the city have a policy, if there is an ICE raid in Galt, of providing personnel to assist in a raid? Does the city allow that without reimbursement, in much the same way that there was a complaint about using city staff for charitable events? Can they use city staff without reimbursement?
Sure, you'll have to wrap it up, please.
All right, I will just conclude with, I think that the city needs to be transparent. I have faith that Congress will eventually reach some sort of conclusion to make people legal and less fearful and get that worked out, but I think it's incumbent on the city to make this transition period as comfortable and safe and open and transparent as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sherry. Well, I wouldn't mind, Chief, if you could, not now, but answer some of these questions for us later on, at a later time.
I will be happy to at a later time.
Okay,
Give me
thank
time to review it.
Right.
I mean, the decision, I'm hearing the same things everybody else through the news and everything, but I think we should wait and find out what exactly the direction and the orders are before we make any comments.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, moving on. The information consent calendar, Donna, would you please read it?
Item 1, minutes of the regular meeting of February 7th, 2017. Item 2, receive and file warrants for the period ending February 13th, 2017. Item 3, revisions to Galt Municipal Code regarding alternate members for commissions and committees. Item 4, zoning ordinance amendment to modify the formula for dedication of land, population per type of dwelling unit. Item 5, revision to Section 5, classification plan of the City of Galt Personnel Manual. And last, Item 6, TerraCare Associate Service Contract.
I do have one really quick question. I just want to make sure that number 5 doesn't have any, will not affect, what is it, G2, just, okay, sometimes things get all mishmashed. Okay, do I have, council, do I have a motion to approve?
Move consent.
Do I have a second? Okay, moved by Vice Mayor Cruz, second by Councilmember Campion. Call for the vote, please.
Vice Mayor Cruz?
Aye.
Councilmember Hewer?
Aye.
Councilmember Campion?
Aye.
Councilmember Lamson?
Aye.
Mayor Powers?
Aye, approved 5-0. Okay, now we're at the city attorney's office and the appointment of an interim city attorney, and it makes me very sad to let everyone know that our great attorney that we've had for a while is moving on, but we need to figure out some way to fill those big shoes in the meantime. So, on to you, Steve.
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. Actually, they're very small shoes. The Mayor indicated I will be leaving the city at the end of this week. And the item before you is to adopt a resolution appointing Kimberly Hood at the firm of Best Krieger as interim city attorney and approving an agreement for legal services with the same law firm, Best Krieger. Kimberly has worked with us, worked with the city for many years. Back in 2015, she served as interim city attorney for about half a year, and during my tenure, she's worked with us on many projects. So she's very familiar with the city, the staff at the city, as are many of the members of the Best Krieger law firm. Additionally, and probably most importantly, Kimberly is a very experienced attorney. She's highly qualified to assume the duties of interim city attorney, and I know that if the city council approves this resolution, that I'll be leaving the city attorney's office and the city in very, very good hands. The agreement for legal services is also part of the action today, and the way that this agreement is structured is it provides for a retainer for basic legal services so that there's routine representation that we get for a fixed amount, and then specialized services is billed on an hourly basis. Because we haven't had a lot of experience with this type of arrangement for several years, there's an opportunity after 6 months to revisit this agreement to make sure that the retainer is in sync with the actual number of hours being provided by Kimberly and the BB&K law firm, and so there will be an opportunity to make adjustments if necessary after 6 months of history with this arrangement. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the council may have, and Kimberly is in the audience today as well.
Questions, council? Well, I want to say that we're glad to have you aboard, Kimberly. I've worked with you for a long time, even before you came here, and you're a great asset, and we're very lucky, I think, to have you come in and step in to fill those very small shoes of Steve. Anything else, council?
I do have one question. Just for logistic purposes, so you're on staff, you're here every single day that we're open. Will you be doing the same thing, Kimberly, or will you be working from the main office?
I'll be working from Sacramento. I'll be here periodically if needed, and I will staff meetings and have to, like a continuing staff meeting and seeing what needs there are, and I'll be at the
Thank you.
Go back and forth.
If we, so if we wanted to offer someone a permanent position like yours, would we be able to do that before the 6 months?
So you could do that at any point. This is an interim arrangement, and at any point in the future, the council can decide how it wants to fill the city attorney needs on a permanent basis.
Okay,
I'd just like to tell you, Steve, how much we will miss your guidance and your advice and your legal knowledge. You know, we wish you best in your endeavor. I think it's a great opportunity for you and your family, just so the community knows you're just going on to kind of bigger and better things. And we understand that. And but we really appreciate the 8 years of service that you've given this community. So thank you very much.
well, I was going to bring that up at the end, so I'll just wait till the end to give you kudos. Okay, do I have, do you want to read it, Donna, please?
The recommended action, adopt a resolution appointing Kimberly Hood of the law firm of Best, and Greiger as interim city attorney and approving an agreement for legal services with Best, and Greiger.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Move the item.
Second.
Okay, Mark and Kirk again. Call for the vote, please.
Vice Mayor Cruz,
Aye.
Councilmember Hewer,
Aye.
Councilmember Campion,
Aye.
Councilmember Lamson,
Aye.
Mayor Powers.
Aye. Okay, so we're going to discuss the approval of proposed job description and salary schedule for the positions of senior wastewater system operator and utilities maintenance supervisor.
Mayor, we're going to have Mr. Winkler present this item.
Thank you. We're going to stand in for Paula, and I apologize she wasn't here to answer questions, and appreciate the opportunity, Madam Mayor and Council, to at least give you the background on why the item's on the agenda. You know, why is it being rushed? Why is it ahead of the cost study? And I think there are some good, important logistical reasons, and if you agree, I certainly defer to Council's wisdom and judgment, but our job is to bring forward the recommendations. Pardon me. I have the staff report in front of me. So a couple of quick pieces of history. We have 2 positions that were approved a year and a half ago in the budget, and we can get technology to help us out here. Those positions are circled on this slide. As you can see, they're near the top of our org chart within the Utilities Division. They were approved as part of bringing online some of the new and complex operating systems involved with the Golden Heights Water Treatment Plant, as well as the new lift station that serves citywide needs, and more importantly, and not least, is $20 million worth of new treatment plant operations. And as part of getting those new programs permitted with the state, and investing millions and millions of dollars, we had to give the state some assurance of how those would be operated, and we had enough manpower and enough certification certified staff to be able to operate those. And so we made those assurances as part of those permit applications to bring those systems online. In working with the former and current city managers, we agreed that those could be held off for a period of time until we were nearing completion of the wastewater plant improvements, but then it would be critical as we're going into the operational mode for those. Well, then last June it was decided, you know, maybe we ought to take a step back and look citywide at all the positions Coffin Associates were hired, and that was well and good, but we were then expressed concern that, you know, we've got these positions, that we've got some commitment and some certification requirements that as long as we can move this timely forward, that we could live with a further delay. And at that point, we were told that we would hope to bring something to council by the end of this past calendar year. Now we're hearing, as you are, we're probably into April. There may be questions or process beyond that. And then, if approved, we'd be looking at least 3 months to do an open recruitment and find qualified candidates. Could internal candidates apply? I believe we have probably at least 1 or more that could meet the minimum requirements for the proposed job descriptions, but we would certainly be doing an open recruitment to try to find those positions. So what's the rush? The concern is that we've got these new facilities operating, We're working a lot of overtime operationally, and we've told people they can't take vacations. We're reaching a stress point in bringing those new facilities online, that we really need to get some help. We brought a whole new computerized maintenance management system online with the new wastewater plant, and a whole new set of SCADA operations where we consolidated all of those out at the wastewater treatment plant. And the utility maintenance supervisor is a position that we don't currently have that expertise, paying a lot of money to outside consultants, and this would be part of the job description, would be to help us with those two areas. And then similarly with all the new water equipment, we believe that we need with the new wastewater treatment plant, that we need an additional operator. Many other operations of a similar size would typically have 2 or 3 more operators than we do. So we're running pretty lean and mean from a budgetary perspective. So we appreciate your consideration. Mark is chomping at the bit to answer any questions you might have and to discuss any further sort of time sensitivities. But we believe we've tried to hang on and hang in there, but we believe another 5 or 6 months can operationally be very detrimental to our wastewater operations. So I'd happy to answer any further questions you might have.
COF was the consultant who's doing the compensation study and compensation classification study. They were consulted on these positions. Is that correct? That's what I
Yes, when we brought the time sensitivity forward to the city manager and to the Paula Islas, they agreed that to take our drafts and forwarded those to COF for the job descriptions and proposed salaries. And they have looked at them and said they don't see any problem with that. They're still doing the sort of the compensation comparables, but we think if anything, those would not come back detrimentally, but would come back favorably and could revise upward what we're actually proposing in the budget.
Okay. So they fit into the existing salary matrix for existing city positions. That's
correct. There would be good separation between those supervised below and those managing above.
Okay. Okay. So if there were any adjustments made on the revision, they would be reflected for these positions as well as others that are also revised.
Right, and at this point, having just looked at it, I don't know what they're finding as far as comparables, but we wouldn't expect the adjustments would be major. There might be some tweaking.
Okay.
Well, you said you in 4 or 5 months you want to get this in place, and April's only a month away. So I still want to see what the comps are for others, and I want to totally make sure that it's in line with the other positions that are the same in different departments in the city. And I haven't seen that, so I'm not inclined to approve the salary rates today.
Mayor, but what they are saying is that the positions and the salary classifications are in line with the existing salary matrix for city positions. So as part of
that is correct.
So part of the COF study, when the evaluation is made, if there are any adjustments, you can't adjust one without adjusting the others. So in reality...
Well, all we have to do is wait till April to see if we need to adjust anything up and down.
You're right. You're right. But I hear a sense of urgency from staff that they need bodies out there at the wastewater treatment plant based on these new facilities.
Within 4 or 5 months, he said. He just said within 4 or 5 months.
We need the staff now. We need to start recruiting, and so we can get the wastewater treatment plant up to speed.
I think his comment, and I don't want to speak for Steve, but I think he was saying that we aren't going to be completed with the cost study for another 4 or 5 months, and then you would have recruitment after that. So that's the 4 or 5. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, we're in February, so March, April is another couple of months, 6, 8 weeks, and then if we started recruiting immediately, we're 3 more months from a warm body. So what I was trying to say was that if we got approval today, we could shave several months off of that recruitment time. It doesn't make us special. We're just saying we have a severe operational need, and we're concerned with our standing and the commitments that we've assured the State Water Resources Control Board that we would have enough operators. What we haven't said, because we're trying to be brief and give you a chance to give us direction, but there's another senior person on the same level as the wastewater systems on our water side that is danger close to taking retirement. And that's going to be yet another hole in our senior staff structure. And at some point, there's our utilities manager is vacant and being worn by our water systems operator as an interim position. So we've got some serious vacancies at the top of organizational structure, and our concern is that we're trying to avoid making sure we don't get any mandates from the state or further fines, and then be back having to explain that to council. So that would be our recommendation, is that we don't hold these hostage for another 4 or 5 months, and that they've already been vacant for 1.5 years since council approved the positions. We just did not get the support we needed from our HR department to get the descriptions brought forward in a timely manner. So now it's becoming critical to us.
Okay, well, I've already expressed my opinion, and so has Councilmember Campion. Is anyone else?
So these positions are fully funded currently in the budget?
Because in fact, if we fill them at the recommended salaries, it'll result in salary savings, even on a pro-rata basis for the rest of the year, and that they were both allocated at an equivalent level, but we're recommending that, as you can see on the org chart, that the one on the far right actually be at a reduced compensation equivalent with the others that line up with that.
So we're currently having to require employees to work overtime to cover these positions?
A lot of overtime. It's like Mark would like to speak.
No.
Yeah.
Mayor, council. The problem I have is I'm an engineer, and I sit out and I look years ahead, and I try to set out when things need to fall into place. And what occurred is we looked at the last summer as when we needed these 2 positions in place by that time, so we have the new plant coming online, we have all the training involved, all the CMMS and all of that stuff. Well, as this study came in, you know, I bit my tongue and I sat back and I said, we're going to lose time. We're going to lose regulatory time. We're going to lose staff time on getting everybody up to training, especially since we had all this free training from the project. As the project went forward, we're going to come up at the next council meeting for completion of the project. You guys are going to see that, council members are going to see that next time. But we have been in critical need for a long time. And so we prepared the documents, all the written information that the consultant needed. We did this back in September. We were ahead, or in August, we did it ahead of everybody. And we were just hoping that this would work in a timely situation and not have to pull off. Now, as I understand, as consultants go, we get it in April, council looks at it, we've got budgetary concerns because we look at the whole package. I don't see us filling these positions until September, October. And that's a realistic outlook. And it went back and forth with the consultant. We've looked at the job specifications. They fall right in line with what was proposed, as the council proposed. Some of the council was here back 4 years ago when we put this org chart into placement. And we had key positions that we held off just because we knew that we needed to have the plant online, or the plant being constructed and everything else, and not to waste city's taxpayer money. And so as we went forward with this, we knew that these 2 positions were needed. They were approved. We held off. We tried to we are a part of this package, but we're just pulling it out a little bit early because we are in dire need of these positions. And I have engineering staff that is doing parts of these positions right now. I have maintenance staff and operators that are it's great for the training, but it just is really tough on everybody involved, and meeting regulatory requirements and meeting timelines. So it's been in the progress hurting for a long time on this.
So my concern is that, to finish my thought, was that, you know, we get the study in April, we're going to have to make budget changes to be able to implement any sort of salary adjustment. So we receive it in April, and you're absolutely right. It won't be implemented until we are able to do the salary adjustments and make the contract negotiations and the whole process that goes along with changing salaries. And I'm concerned that if we're denying employees vacations and we're requiring employees, because I think well-rounded employees, you know, need time off, and they need family time, and they need to not be, you know, stressed. And I know with our recent rains, we've been really taxing our employees with trying public works to take care of some of the rain issues. So I don't see since these positions are fully budgeted, I don't see any reason that we should delay allowing Public Works to go out and start recruiting and training and hiring these employees so that people can, so that our other employees can feel like they can be well-rounded people and have full lives without having to worry about working so many hours at work that cover vacancies.
Well, my concern is on the other end of the stick, and that this has been budgeted, but then we go back and look at that there are other people on the same line as these people that won't get the raises or won't be set up because we do these surveys all the time and nobody ever gets compensated sometimes where they should be. And I'm afraid that some of those people along that line, of the line where your people are, will not get what they deserve or a cost adjustment or whatever you want to call it. So I just want to wait and see where everybody is along certain lines and certain job categories. And that's where I'm at with it.
But Mary Lou, that really doesn't have any bearing on these two specific issues. That has that's more of a global issue with the classification and compensation study or plan itself. And I think we can look closely at that when it comes forward. But, I hear a critical need in the wastewater treatment department and utilities that's been needed since over a year ago. That has
a year ago, and it's just coming up now.
And it hasn't been. Well, it was to be addressed. Unfortunately, the cost study was late. It was supposed to be done late last year. It never got done. We wouldn't be here talking about it had that been done on time, and that's unfortunate. But I think that clearly, people are working overtime. Who knows? They could be working out of classification. There could be compensation issues that we may have to face in the future because of that.
And there could be those issues in other departments too, but we're just bringing this one up.
Certainly, but these are two positions that were approved as part of the budget and funded. So we're only following what we already approved. They're saying they're at a critical point and they need these people. I
just don't want to see a mistake made that ends up,
Yeah.
with the regulatory we've had mistakes be made in the past, and people that are tired and and overworked and working out of classification and having to cover in different areas, that's when mistakes are more likely to happen. And I'm very concerned that our delaying things increases that risk of something like that happening, and I just can't approve being part of that delay process.
Well, and then we have a difference of opinion, and that's why we have a vote. So, anybody else have anything they want to add to it?
I do. You mentioned something about fines. Could you elaborate on that, please?
Well, as your council may recall, we've paid a number of large six-figure fines over the last 5 years that result from either failure to properly do tests to state requirements or to comply with some of the plans that have been submitted to the state. And what we're trying to do is make sure that when we tell the state that we will have a staffing plan to operate the expanded facility, that we don't then have them come back during an annual inspection or a special inspection and say, you violated what you told us, and then our credibility is called in, and they can either do one of two things. They could either, if they find problems with our operation, they can then fine us with an NOV, administrative civil liability process, which is typically fairly expensive, or they can order us to immediately hire additional operators, and absent the availability of positions, we would then have to go outside and hire outside professionals at probably twice the amount we would be paying these positions. So that is a possible outcome.
You also mentioned something about HR, excuse the vernacular, dropping the ball here.
Well, we've been encouraging for over a year that we move forward with these positions that were approved a year and a half ago, and due to workload issues and other more pressing, a lot of PD, dispatcher, and officer needs. We certainly understand that and want to be a team player. But I think we were finally agreed we were going to move forward earlier this past spring, a year ago, and then we decided to look citywide. And we even at that point said, listen, we don't want to get out ahead of it. It's not fair that to be one-offing and singling out. But here we are 6 months later, and we're still, at least if we continue, at least 5 months away. And our experience is that it may be more like 7 or 8 months.
So what you're telling me is if this was approved at this meeting, we're not looking at anybody coming on board for at least another 5 months, is that correct?
If it's approved today, we can start recruiting and probably could cut 2 months off of that, and typically about a 3-month recruitment and make an offer and get a notice and get all the physicals done and bring an employee on board. And maybe, Madam Mayor, just so you know, for your, I'm very sensitive to, I'm hearing what you're saying, is these have not been built in with any presumed salary increase coming out of that. What we did was we pegged these at a consistent level with similar other positions within our organizational structure, and then that's been reviewed by COF as just a quick sneak peek while they're still gathering the comps, and said those appear to be internally consistent, and then they're going to...
Well, that's where you and I disagree, and that's okay. I don't think it's internally consistent, but that's where I'm at on it.
So what if we approve this now and then the study comes through and it isn't for quite what we approved, where do we go from there?
Well, there is a process for Y-rating employees and downgrading them, and basically they would be held at whatever level of salary they were given until such time as CPI indexes and things would catch that up through COLA process.
Well, alternatively, they could have their benefit package upgraded depending upon what the study showed. So, I mean,
there is a process to go either way.
Yeah. And that's for every position, though, as part of the study, so it's not just these.
They're going to study every position?
They're studying every position.
Which we've done a million times before. And
I think we've done it twice. The city's done it
okay,
twice.
pardon me, not a million, twice. Okay, do you want to read anybody else have anything to say? Okay, would you read the recommended action, please?
Adopt a resolution approving the recommended job description and salary schedule for the new positions of senior wastewater system operator and utilities maintenance supervisor.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Lori, second by Kurt. Call for the vote, please.
Vice Mayor Cruz?
I'm going to say aye.
Councilmember Hewer?
Aye.
Councilmember Campion?
Aye.
Councilmember Lamson?
Aye.
Mayor Powers?
No. Passed 4-1. Okay, city clerk's report, communication.
All right. I have nothing tonight or today.
Comments by staff? Start with Emily.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have anything to add today.
Thank you.
Just a quick development update. As you can imagine, there hasn't been much construction going on the past couple months, so residential subdivisions have pretty much been stuck in the same position for a while. But the Starbucks and Arco permit is ready to go. I mean, they're still working on some improvement plans, but we're expecting the grading permit to be available, so I wouldn't be surprised that the Starbucks project get graded as soon as weather permits. Then the Eastview LAFCO annexation was submitted last week. We're kind of on their time now, so it's hard to predict exactly when that will go before their board. There's still a couple items hanging out there that staff and the applicant have to complete, but I would estimate getting to the board probably 4 to 6 months. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Steve?
Just would like to, monthly announcement, our water conservation continues. Of course, we've had a very wet January, so that's to be expected. We actually are still running well below or above 20% conservation in the city, so we want to keep up the good work out there.
Didn't the governor extend the...
So, as a statewide, the urgency regulations that were adopted have been amended and readopted and extended through at least, I believe, May, which is sort of the, when they get a look at the water year. It's widely acknowledged in a declared state of emergency. We had too much water in Northern California, and as of this last weekend, maybe in Southern California too. But they basically said it's prudent until we get a look at the snowpack and where we're going to be. It's conceivable of warm storms could melt the snow prematurely, and then all the water that we're hoping is a surplus could suddenly be a deficit. So they have extended that.
Thank you.
Amy?
Just briefly wanted to
working now? There we go. Let everybody know that the developer for the Simmerhorn project has hired a commercial brokerage firm to represent them. So CBRE out of Sacramento will be representing the Simmerhorn commercial project. And I'll be in Monterey in 2 weeks at the ICSC trade show. And we have a site plan, preliminary site plan that we'll be pushing out to potential retailers. So I'll report back when I come back and let everybody know how that went. I think that's a good step forward. And Chris Arias and I, the Community Development Director, met with the developer and the biologist this morning, and they are moving forward on some of the environmental mitigation. So I think that we're making baby steps here, going in the right direction. So good news for the commercial project there.
Thank you, Amy. Mark?
Thank you.
Armando?
I do. I actually have a couple of things. First, I'd like to give credit where credit's due. It's Public Works Building Maintenance Department that takes care of the maintenance of Shabola. And Chris, I'll have the check into you next week for your things you said for me. And we have, I just want to let you know that we're having issues out at our parks and our sports fields in mowing them. The ground is so saturated that we're unable to get onto the fields. We tried mowing Wednesday of last week, and the mower started sinking. So it's not lack of us. We're not paying attention to them. Just want to let you know that it's hard to get onto the fields to mow them. And I don't see that being solved anytime soon. And I've put on notice all of our GYB, Galt FC, Liberty Ranch, that our fields probably won't be playable until after next week. So if you hear any things coming through, it's just because we can't get onto them and get the fields ready.
Okay. Thank you, Armando.
What are you doing for baseball practice?
Gym. We use the gym.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. Chief?
Just real quick, 2 days ago, a semi hit a railroad crossing arm at Elm and McFarland.
Oh, that's what...
Caused significant damage. It's going to take some time to get that fixed. But the Union Pacific came out, the police department, and the railroad came out and assessed the damage and everything. What they're going to do in the interim is drive their trains slowly and blow their horn. So if people start hearing it around there, that's the reason why, is so that there's not an accident. And then, and just wanted to let everybody know if they're driving through there to use some caution and slow down through the area.
Could I just ask you to please send a notice like that out to council members when something like that happens? I saw it the other day, and people were asking me about it, and I'm kind of getting irritated when stuff comes out on Facebook first before we even have answers for anything. So before, we used to get stuff that was going on if there was an accident or something like that was happening. So I'm just asking if you could please in the future send us out just a little blip about what's going on. I'd appreciate it.
We will do that.
I don't think it has to go up any kind of chain of command if you just let us know when something like that happens so we can immediately let our constituents know.
We will.
Gene?
Nothing to add.
Hey, Steve.
I just want to say that it has been a pleasure and an honor to be part of this community. The city of Galt is really a great town, and I am always amazed and impressed by the employees that serve this community. They are a top-notch, high-quality group, and I'm really going to miss being part of the Galt family. So thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, we'll start with Lori this time.
So Saturday night, I got to attend the Galt Comedy Club show at Brewster's that Dan Denier puts on, and it was a great show, and I encourage everyone to come out and join the shows in the future. Otherwise, everything's good.
Mark?
I've got a couple of things. First one is, we started out in 2010, and I told you at that point you were at 100%, and you're going out at 100%. I really appreciate everything you've done for this community. And even though you're leaving Galt, you're still part of Galt, so don't think you're off the hook.
Kurt? I'm sorry.
Two more.
Okay.
I attended the Tiny Smiles event. It was well attended. A lot of people out there. Again, I think it's an awesome event for this community, and I'm very happy that it continues. And the last thing is a big thank you to the City Council for the flower arrangement for memorial for my mother. It was very much appreciated.
Kurt?
Thank you. Steve, I just wanted to wish you well. I've worked with you for a number of years in a couple different capacities and have known you, I think before you came to the city of Galt. So I wish you well, and the reasons that you're leaving are just and valid. You know, you have a new opportunity, and it's beneficial to your family, and I understand all those things. We will certainly miss you, your expertise, your guidance. It's been a pleasure working with you.
Thank you very much.
Paige?
Steve, it's just been so nice getting to know you these past few months, and you're always calm and insightful and logical, and I appreciate that. Mary, are you gonna be the letter from Ralph?
Yes.
Okay. So in community-wise, just want you guys to know that the Liberty Ranch girls soccer team took league for the 3rd year in a row.
Woohoo!
Over on Walker Park, thank you. Liberty Ranch boys basketball took league by the skin of their teeth. They had a few losses, but they're going on to playoffs. And the Galt High boys soccer team also took league. So, and the Liberty girls goalie did not get scored on once the league season, so that's pretty impressive. Thank you very much. That's
Okay.
it. Thank you very much.
Okay, I do want to read a letter from Ralph Cortez. Good morning, good afternoon, Mayor, council members, and city staff. I wanted to say, as a Galt resident, I'm very sorry to see Steve Rudolph leaving us. Steve's willingness and accessibility before and after our council meetings always made me feel he was very approachable. Steve was always quick to answer my questions, mostly helping me better understand our council meeting policies and procedures. I truly hope his departure was of his own decision, we know that, and best for him and his family. Steve, I'd like to thank you for your years of service and dedication to this great community. I appreciate how you made me feel and the encouragement towards citizens' engagement with our great little city. All the best to you and yours, sir. And that's from Ralph Cortez. And I just want to say, I'm really going to miss you. You've been a good friend, a good mentor, and probably had to listen to more stuff than you ever wanted to from me. But I appreciate that you were always available, that we could always talk about anything, and sometimes it wasn't city matters, it was just life in general. I truly wish you the very best. I am so sorry to see you go, but I know it's for a great opportunity, and I'm truly going to miss you. I just wanted to let you know that. So now we're going to adjourn to closed session.